Hi there, this is Mark Jones, and today I'm just introducing you to something I feel very passionately about, my Counseling Skills for Astrologers program. Now, this is quite a complex program in many ways, and it's not just something designed for astrologers to feel a greater degree of competency in working with clients, although it is that. It really is an attempt to address how in this strange profession of ours that's not always taken so seriously by this world. You know, in the United States, astrology is designated as mere entertainment, something we're doing just to, create a little show, a bit of magic for our clients. For those of us in this alternative world who actually want to work with people in a transformational fashion, I've created a course that tries to address some of the central concerns and issues that we might need to look at in order to do that. But more than that, I also try to address the common projections around the very nature of astrology itself. How we tend to project the message of the stars onto the people we work with. And people travel to conferences or might come many hundreds of miles to see me speak somewhere and have a reading with me. And let's face it, that's loaded. It's not a neutral space. They are ready to receive words of wisdom from me about their chart, and this might have a dramatic, and even at times, in some situations, overly dramatic impact on their life. So we want to have considered very much where we're coming from as people, what kind of vision of transformation we have in our practice. So this course, it examines a number of core issues. It tries to dispel myths around astrology, that somehow all astrologers are just channeling the message of the stars because they're reading your chart. It tries to constellate a responsible attitude to our practice. So it looks at things like, what kind of transformational vision of life do we have as a practitioner? What are we going to offer our clients? It looks at really what the century of psychology, the 20th century, the development of psychology was one of the great learning curves of the century. And psychology has all this experience on what goes on when two people are sat together in a room, looking at some important issues in the one person's life. All the relational dynamics that occur, the dynamics of projection, the transference of early childhood material onto the content of the healer or the therapeutic figure. These are issues that I feel too often in the astrological community remain unconscious, that we don't explore what are the interpersonal dynamics going on when we're doing a reading. Astrology is such a complex subject. It takes so long to learn astrology to a good enough level to be able to offer some words of wisdom to people, that people can spend all their career just learning the technical instrumentation of astrology and forgetting that it's its implementation with another human being that really changes lives. So the Counseling Skills for Astrologers program, it tries to focus on what will change people's lives and what are the common psychological understandings, really a synthesis of what emerged from the depth psychology of the 20th century. I had a very high quality researcher help me, my colleague trained in psychosynthesis with me, Oxbridge University graduate, doing very, very high quality research with me, where we tried to summarize the essence of the person-centered approach of Carl Rogers, for example, or the meaning of humanistic or existential psychology, and to bring it into a palatable form for practitioners of astrology to be able to use in their readings in a very hands-on way. And then running through the entire program really is an extended meditation on personal identity. What is it to be an authentic self? What is it to be an authentic self in a room with another person and take the risk of sharing yourself? Because often people want to know, how did your understanding of your chart help you? How has your life been changed by astrology? How have you been improved or transformed by what you've understood? And in a sense, that's the essence of what we dig inside and offer people when we work with them. I try to offer people in my readings more than just a technical understanding of their chart. I try to offer them a human experience that leads them into the next steps in their lives. Now, this course focuses on a number of issues that can allow a practitioner to facilitate that process in another. The extended meditation on the personal deepening of ourselves as a practitioner that the course offers is really something that I've observed from my work. Over time, I've noticed that something has changed in my energy field because of the client work I've done. Because I've done so much of it, thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of it with so many different people, something has changed in my energy field that I noticed over time that allowed people sometimes that didn't even know me to feel that they could open up to me, or to do readings in even the strangest of circumstances, in a restaurant, in a hotel after checking out, or in someone's retreat center room that they're sharing with 3 other people. And you just have 45 minutes or an hour with them that may or may not change their life. And I realized that all the work I'd done with people, it had opened something that allowed people to see me in a certain way or relate to me in a certain way. And this course, it tries to teach a process of self-reflective learning that allows us to see through conditioning aspects in ourselves and hopefully encourages, in a way, the development of a true or authentic self. And it does so primarily by focusing on that which stands between our true and authentic self and the world. So it looks at our persona, how we respond socially in certain situations and feel this sense of pressure to be different or other than who we are. But it also looks at our self-image. And it identifies our self-image as the conceptual sense we have of ourselves, combined of our thoughts and feelings, our memories, our own orientation to ourselves. And it tries to point to the fact that our most authentic self, our true and deepest being, is actually beyond that self-image also. Most people in this field would understand persona. They would understand that I might put on a mask in a social situation, or because of a professional or personal pressure. But very few people grasp that their own self-concept, the very self-image they have of themselves, is also another construct, that it is not the same as your fundamental being that shines forth. So from this perspective, the Counseling Skills for Astrologers program, it lays out a path of personal contemplative growth throughout the 12 lessons. And these are 2-hour audio lessons with accompanying essays. And the accompanying essays summarize the thoughts of 20th century psychologists that I feel might be helpful. Or they lay out a series of quotations from certain thinkers. And then the audio program leads us into certain questions and concerns and exercises to encourage our personal growth and to support our professional practice as counseling-orientated astrologers. And this includes, towards the end, a focus on continuing professional development. How do we feel we fit into our community? How do we feel we're continuing to grow? And it raises the question of supervision. When I trained as a psychotherapist, supervision was an enormously important part of the training. In my early client work, I was constantly supported by elder practitioners in how I related with people, how my work was perceived to be effective or ineffective. So many of us in the world of astrology are taking this hugely courageous leap of faith to go out and work with people in the world, and we're doing so completely on our own, completely unsupported. Now, in a psychotherapeutic context, this would be horrifying to people. They would think people would go under, because as soon as something happened that was difficult with a client or someone reacted badly to something, the person's self-confidence would be so badly affected. Now, of course, this happens in astrology, but isn't so often discussed. And I've seen people, I've worked with people, very gifted astrologers, who have not been able to sustain a private practice because this issue of how are people responding to what I do has affected them so much, and that they were unsupported in that. And now, from years of mentoring work with people and years of offering supervision to individual astrologers myself, I've included this focus within the program to help you in your practice think about what you would need to be most effective as a practitioner, what you would need to get your message across in the cleanest and clearest way to your clients, but also what you would need to support you in your own development and your continuing development through this process of offering a service, a meaningful service to other people. And really it's that balance that we're looking for. We're looking for that balance between our personal development and continued personal growth and the service that we offer others, and the love and the compassion and the insight and hopefully occasionally even wisdom that comes through us on behalf of other people. Now, to get that balance right is so delicate. It's an ongoing creative process to get that balance right. But I have found in my life that I serve the people I work with best when I have served my own continuing growth and personal development best. That the two blend together into a kind of win-win scenario. And it's that I've tried to convey in this course. I've really wanted to offer this for a very long time. Years of being a therapist, and then having this increasing involvement with the astrology community really opened me to the hidden message in some of the vibrancy of the astrology community. I've gone to many, many conferences over many years, and all these incredible techniques and all this incredible richness and creativity is pouring into the astrology community. But how often is the experience of the client being overlooked in that? How often in these conferences and in these talks and these books is the actual experience that a client undergoes when they have a reading with you focused on? So I've tried to address that. In the book, The Soul Speaks, The Therapeutic Potential of Astrology, and I've developed the message in The Soul Speaks into this more advanced program. And I really hope you'll enjoy it and find it useful, and I wish you all the best in your practice. May we all help people. May we serve the higher good in our clients and in ourselves.